Okay, this part of the video is about rate limiting. We basically don't want our API or backend to go down by too many requests, so by being spammed or from a DDoS attack, denial of service, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, Nick Chapsas has a very good video about that in depth. I'm just going to show you how to implement it. It's part of protecting your backend, your API from unwanted behaviors. In previous video, for that reason, we added course, so we only expect requests from our own, from the origins we allow, so our own front ends and websites and stuff, not just anyone. But this is about rate limiting. So first, I'm actually going to, you could just add it into your API project, but I'm going to add it into my shared API project, I think. Let's see, I'm going to add, these IP rate limiting options are actually coming from a NuGet package, if I'm not mistaken. That is ASP.NET Core rate limit. Let's add that. As well as this in-memory rate limiting. You could probably wire up Redis, a Redis instance or something to keep track of this, but I'm just going to do it like that. The options, okay, then we only need this IP rate limiting in our settings from the startup project, which is my API project. And of course we have to enable the rate limiting on our API by going to the program app and let's see, just gonna put it here. Use API rate limiting. Okay, and then all we need to do anymore is the app settings. I would normally put that in my production app settings directly. But for demo purposes, I'm going to put it here. You see IP rate limiting. For really in-depth video about it, check out Nick Chapsas' video. Anyway, if we send too many requests in a certain duration, these durations are defined in the general rules. We are going to get an HTTP status code of 429, meaning too many something. You can whitelist some IP addresses, so these are the local host ones in IPv4 and IPv6. There's some endpoint whitelisting you can do. I don't actually have these, but let's say maybe help. No, yeah, there might be some you want to whitelist. You can do that here. And then we have the general rules that is going to define how many, yeah, just a limit per duration. So in a period of 1 second, we can maximum do 150 requests, for 30 seconds 300, for 1 minute 500, and for 5 minutes 1000. You should alter these to your needs, requirements. I made these numbers up. From a bit of testing, I actually implemented these in my existing application on leisure.com. And this is a Tinder-like thingy, so the user could spam the like button or the dislike button. But if the user does that, it's going to run into a 429 status code. But of course, we still want the app to be functioning. So if we put this to low, let's say 10 requests per second, it's possible that every user is going to run into that, and that's going to prevent using the app properly. So we need to allow enough requests per second, but not too many, so you don't the backend can still handle all the calls. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm just going to try it out through Swagger, I think. I'm not sure if I have to rebuild all this. Maybe I should. It's giving me an error because I forgot something. I actually have to add a singleton. I think you can find that in the official documentation of the NuGet package. Let's see. Should be something like this. Both of these classes are coming from the NuGet package. Let's rebuild and test that again. I'm rebuilding each time because I'm working in these shared projects. Just rerunning the backend is not always enough. If it comes down to app settings or other static files. Going to see if I can demo it through Swagger, and if not, I'll use Postman. Let's see. This places one. That took quite long. Not really seeing the headers here, the full headers. So maybe I should use Postman to show it. See if I can. I'm going to put the limits a little lower in the development one, just to see if that, let's just say 10, 30, 50, 100. Rebuild and rerun. And then I think I'm going to use Postman to show you the full headers. Let's just take this places because I know there's no data for this. I don't know why, but with SQL Server, the first database call seems to take a long time. With .NET Web API and Entity Framework. Postman is no longer supported. Weird. Postman Chrome is now the Postman app. Okay, it's just the extension that's dying. Oops. Let's do this. Is that a get call? Yes. Let's just try it first. Let's take a look at the headers. I'm not even seeing anything about not even seeing anything. Yeah, 10 calls in 1 second might be still a lot for me to break it. Let's try just 1, 3, 5, and 10. But it doesn't look like the rate limiting is even active, since I would expect some extra headers, unless I'm not unless I'm not seeing all the headers in here. I rerun the project. Let's try again. First request takes a long time. Yeah, okay. Doesn't appear to be working or rate limiting. Let's move this over to the API project for now, so we can cancel that out as a reason for this not working. Well, maybe it would be a good idea to debug this stuff. Ah, what a waste of time. I totally forgot I whitelisted my local host things. So, yeah, that's probably not going to work. That might be the reason for it failing. But let's try again. I rerun it and let's see if it gives me other headers now. Doesn't look like. Doesn't seem to be. Let me also cancel out the whitelisting and the app settings.json. These still have the local host. Okay, sorry for wasting your time and my own. So now we see some more headers coming back. Exactly these X rate limit and the limit remaining. So 9 more for 5 minutes. And it resets at, yeah, 5 minutes later, I guess. Let's see. So now we are really getting to 429 API calls, quota exceeded, maximum admitted 10 per 5 minutes. Let's loosen the policies up a little bit now and see which limits trigger first. If I check out my API project, you nicely see these logs. Telling from which ID IP has been blocked, so it's IP rate limiting. So this is based on IP, which is cool. So let's just put like 5, 15, 30, and 40. I don't want to be clicking too much, so let's see, 20, 25, just for demo purposes. And let's see which of these hit first. I reran the project and let's see, maybe it's more clear in Postman. If we do the first call, it's looking at the rate limit of 5 minutes and I have 24 calls remaining. I didn't hit the 5 limit quota, but I did hit the 15 per 30 seconds. So although it was showing this one, when I hit these bottom ones, it's also going to block me, of course. So let's see, retry after 11 seconds. And still this counter on the 5 minutes is still like it was before. So it's not when you hit one limit that the other ones reset or something. Try after 217, that's probably a few minutes, 5 minutes or something, I don't know. So we exceeded the quota, this one, and this one actually wanted to exceed this one, but that's a little harder to do. I think this period is purely, you can put whatever you want in here. Maybe you want every 10 seconds or 20 seconds. Feel free to modify that as you wish. I am going to whitelist my local host again. and I'm only going to have these rules in the app settings, in the production app settings. In my production app settings, these are set a bit larger. Would be a good idea to test this with load testing artillery, if I'm not mistaken. Cool, I think that's all for now. This is just adding a little more, just adding some more to our, what would I say, protection against attacks. And now I think I'm safe to deploy this API to Azure. See you in the next video. What I still wanted to say about these, of course, 1005 minutes looks like a lot, but it's not like if they try to spam 1,000 requests in a few seconds, of course, these are gonna hit first. So it's not like, yeah, it's not like they, yeah, that's all I, sorry, it's a little extra thing I wanted to say. You probably already figured that out, but I was thinking about it myself. I was like, what if they try to force 1,000 requests uh, within a minute or something? Then, of course, you're gonna hit this one, and probably this one first. Cool, see you in the next video about deploying the API to Azure.